Round 12 is in the books, and what a week of highs and lows it was. Some absolutely massive scores, but also some really disappointing lower scores. Nico Hines as captain is one that most of us had, and we'll go through that in a sec. But yeah, look, there were plenty of big ones to tide us through as well. Hopefully you got through the storm all right. From my side, I'm up to rank 150 now, so got my eyes on that overall win, especially heading into the bye period. So let's have a look here first. We've got the Dogs and the Dragons. We'll go through game by game as we always do. And talk through some of the big scores from each game. Jacob Kraz is the first one here, so massive game from him. 79 points, had the 2 tries, had 3 line breaks, had a bunch of tackle breaks as well. I think it was about 250 meters, maybe 230 meters. So yeah, he was on fire here with 79 points. Obviously, the Dogs have awesome bye schedule as well, so he's in a good spot. Jacob Little, 74 points. He can do this, so he's a very explosive hooker. He has those really low games in him, but he also has some very high ones. If you want a pod, there are crazier pods than Little. I don't hate it. I'm not going to do it myself. I don't need the hooker. If you've got Jaden Braley, you probably don't need him either. Matty Burton, 18th man for the Blues right now as it stands. And I thought he might make that bench or maybe the starting center spot, but he's in there. So, look, he'll be a tough one to buy during this period. He's got that origin selection stuff that's going to mess him around, but again, on fire as well. You've got Salmon, 63 points, got the 2 tries. I can't believe this. I thought he was going to fade, and he just keeps on pumping out big scores. Jack DeBellin, 60 points, huge from him. Could be a decent little pod for you through this period. I don't mind the look of it. 69 minutes here, 41 tackles, had the 5 tackle breaks, 155 meters. He's in good form, but the Dragons are in a disaster mode right now. So yeah, the minutes could shake up there. Marnie, 59 points, really solid. And I realize I've got to talk about all these players. There's too many here. But Sexton comes in, 44 points as well. Rock solid from him. Down the list, Eisenhuth had a tough night on defense, but still got 36 points, which is okay. And then Leilua, less minutes, 30 points. I've got my eye on him gently there as well. And then down the list, no one too crazy to talk about here. You probably don't have many of these guys here. Just worth noting that Turpin was on the bench. So if you do have Marnie, a little bit of concern there. All right, Cowboys and the Tigers next up here. Val Holmes, 79 points, top 5 scorer for this week. He put on a clinic, right? So the Tigers put up a pretty inexperienced backline for this game. Those guys had some really good moments, but also, some lesser defensive moments as well. Val Holmes is all class. He's all class. So he was able to take advantage of that. Lucky Galvin turned up in this game too. Look, 77 points. He is a juggernaut, right? And we were talking about Galvin being in a bit of doubt heading into this week, and he just came out, produced these stats, right? The try saver, 2 try assists, 28 tackles, 5 tackle breaks, 200 run meters. Like absurd sort of numbers from him. But Twal, he scored a try scoring connoisseur, Alex Twal, 64 points. Again, just a big performance. Are we looking at him very closely post round 13? So the 40 tackles, the 100 run meters, that's pretty automatic from him. He's a 50-point guy if he can get these minutes. So I like to look at him. Nanai, big game, but he's playing Origin, so I wouldn't stress it. Dearden, same. Robson, exact same. Ruben Cotter, exact same. All good scores, but they're all playing Origin, so you're not going to be buying them anytime soon. Stefano, he's sort of cooled off in terms of fantasy performances, but 53 with the try. It's not ideal. Whereas Samuel Afinu, 53 with the try, it's a bit of a different thing because we paid a lot less money for Samuel Afinu. So if you've got him, you're very happy. If you don't have him, keep an eye on him in round 14 because the Tigers have an awesome buy schedule. Down the list here, Coruscant didn't make the Origin side, so could be a guy we look at in a couple of weeks' time as a buy option. Drinkwater, again, you expected more from him in this game. 3 try assists, 46 points. I would hope for better. And then down the list here, Sullivan, 45 points. So he came back to earth a little bit, but that's still a massive score for him. I have no idea how he's going to keep producing these scores. It's crazy to me. But I guess the 403 kick meters, 150 run meters. He's a great ball running 6. I guess you'd call him a 6 in this team. I would view Galvin more. I guess they're both sort of 6s, aren't they? Sullivan's probably more the 7, but yeah, it's a tough one to have faith in. McKaylee, he sort of upped his numbers a bit, 37. That's pretty nice. If you got him, you're going to enjoy him through the bye period. And then down the list, Clemmer might be out for a few weeks from here. Matamua, we talked about a bit last week. Look, 34 points is okay, but he's not starting in the Tigers right now. Lukey, only 32 points. He was looking pretty good early, but he sort of cooled off. And then down the list here, Buller scored a try, only 22 fantasy points. Could be an option if he gets cheap enough. Yeah, nothing else too crazy to look at down the list. Let's keep rolling through here. So then we've got the Seagulls and the Storm. This is a cracking game as well, and Manly came up on top. Look, Fortress Brookie, it is against them. But Tommy Talau, first one here, 63 points. Absolute big man performance here. Tommy Talau's gone from a guy who was in the cellar last year in terms of his fantasy production to a bona fide fantasy gun. All right, maybe I'm going a bit too far there. I just like seeing sort of the upswing, right? So he's a guy who's gotten a really good opportunity at Manly. He's taken it with both hands and he's playing great footy. So good on him. He could be an option after round 13 if you really want to hop on the Tommy Talau train. Eli Katoa, 61 points. That's back to back to back 60 plus performances. 3 games in a row with tries as well. So I don't know if he's going to keep scoring tries like this, but as an Eli Katoa owner, I'm pretty happy with it. Look, 55 average. That's kind of what I was hoping for from him this year. That sort of 55 average leap. He's priced at about 46 to start the year, and yeah, he's really turned up for me. So super stoked with that. Jerome Hughes, we know he's this dynamic. 60 points is well within his repertoire. DC has the origin period coming up, so you might want to hop off this bandwagon pretty soon. Ben Trebojevic, he's just teasing us at this point, isn't he? He is just teasing us. Harry Grant, 47 points, 47 tackles. It wasn't that dynamic, right? So he's one of the best hookers, if not the best hooker in the comp. Probably the best hooker in the comp pretty clearly, actually. But just hasn't really produced for fantasy as much this year as he has in real life. So yep, you might be hopping off him pretty soon. Ruben Garrick, scored a bunch of points from goals there, so 10 points from goals. A few penalty goals as well, but only 39 in this game, a bit quieter. He's going to be hot and cold as he goes along. Sua Falongo, 39, nice little base there from this game. He's sort of looking more and more solid as he goes along. Nelson Asofa Solomona is getting very, very, very cheap. Very cheap, and I've got my eye on him as a potential option at some point. Down the list, Sean Bloor got 70 minutes, only 22 points. Very disappointing, but no Cam Munster. It could be a symptom of that. Also, he just had a bit of a nightmare game. Like, if you look at his stats, 23 tackles, 59 meters. It's just not a great involvement from him compared to previous weeks. And then the rest of the list here, no one too crazy to talk about. We'll skip all those guys. Go on to the next game here. So, Raiders and the Roosters. Again, look, the Raiders sort of looked like they were trying to fight back into this game at one point, but the Roosters really just ran away with this one, right? And the Chooks are a classy side. They're going to be very affected by Origin. But one guy who's not been picked is this man here, James Tedesco, right? So we've got 3 try assists in this game. He was dominant on the ground as well, 76 points. Let's look at the stats here, actually, because 9 tackle breaks, 152 meters. He had that 5-meter kick, that cross-field bomb. But no, look, he was on fire in this game. Like 76 points. He's going to bump up in price quite a bit this week. And yeah, as a Tedesco owner myself, very lucky that he's not in the Origin side for fantasy. Obviously, for real life, it's Teddy and Edwards, right? 2 of the best hookers going around right now. So the coach has made a call to go in a different direction. Nafu White, 62 points in 68 minutes. I can't believe that Robinson just has this stable of fantasy relevant weapons that he just keeps sitting there. And he lets each of them out every second week. And then, a different guy shows us they can score well. And none of them can keep a spot consistently. So it's a tough one to read. I wouldn't overreact into this one, but Nafu White is playing good footy. Hudson Young been picked for Origin, so not relevant for fantasy right now at all, but 60 was a good score. Joey Manu is lowered in value because Tedesco didn't make the Origin side, so Joey will stay at center. Not an ideal scenario for him, but he's still been on fire at the center spot regardless. Victor Radley played on the edge in this game, scored a try, 56 points is solid. Gus Crichton been picked for Origin as well. He's probably a sell. If you have a Chook who's playing Origin, I'd get rid of them because they're going to miss round 14 as well as round 13 and a bunch of other rounds after that too. Sam Walker in good form, 52 points, great from him. Looked like it could have been more, but he picked up a bit of a niggling injury early in that game. KO Weeks, 51, saved the day with a great try, showed a ton of speed cutting around Luke Keary. We love that. Look, he's not a reliable 50-point scorer. I'm just going to put that on record. He's going to be more of a 40 average, I would say. And that's fine. He's playing really good footy, but you just can't rely on these sort of attacking plays every single week. And there are going to be weeks where he scores a 30 for you, for example. Spencer Leniu, big score. Tomoko back to a bit of form. Joey Tarpanay, only 40 points in 60 minutes. Not quite what my owners were hoping for. Then we go down the list here. Dom Young, bit back to earth, 31 points. Look, that's fine. He's going to have those games where he doesn't score tries. He's a bit quieter. He's going to have those pop games as well. So he's got to live with that. Ethan Strange, 29 points. Again, look, I think I might be looking at selling him after round 13. I think that's the state where I'm at right now. The base stats just haven't really been lifting up. Look, 76 run meters, only 53 kick meters. It's just not enough to sustain good fantasy scores. Morgan Smithies, 27 points in 55 minutes. Again, really, really rough as a Smithies owner myself. Not ideal for him, so he might be a sell as well, heading into round 14 after the round 13 game. If anyone plays this week for you, you keep them no matter what. You sell them after this week with the major buy round. Then down the list here, no one else too crazy to talk about. Egan Butcher, if he ever gets a start, he'll get nice and cheap. Same with Sandon Smith as well. They're just there warming the bench right now. Okay, keep rolling through here. And this was a crazy game. I didn't expect this at all. So I tipped Penrith thinking they might get up here and they'd be pretty solid defensively, but didn't think that they would win 42-0. That's absolutely crazy, especially that Nathan Cleary. So it was led by this guy here, Jerome Luai, 95 points, one of the top 3 scorers for this week. This is a juggernaut from him. So in terms of this performance, you got a try assist, 2 line breaks, 2 line break assists, 9 tackle breaks, and 5 offloads, as well as all the kicking and 124 run meters. Just a massive game from Jerome Luai. Look, he's made the origin side, which means that he's probably not super relevant for fantasy right now, but that was a big one. That was a really big one. Dylan Edwards here, 70 points, rock solid as well. So if you got Dylan Edwards, you are happy there. He just keeps on pumping out big scores. Had the try, had 14 points from goal kicks as well. Again, on fire. McInnes made the origin side. So if you got him, unlucky because that was a good game, but he's going to be out for origin now. Fisher Harris, he's rolling. He's rolling all right. He's a bit up and down. That's the thing with Fisher Harris, right? Because Penrith, they give him a bit of a rest when they're going super well. I mean, this game they didn't, but there are just times where he doesn't quite get the minutes or the involvement. So you can't really predict his scores. But at 564K, if Penrith had better buys, I'd think about it. But otherwise, I'm probably not going to jump on anyone like that. Cole had a much better game, 58 points. He was putting on a bit of a clinic here. So scored off his kick, had a few try assists as well. He's on fire. Isaiah Yeo, 55 points. That's fine. That's fine. That's base. He does play Origin, though, so keep that in mind as you're going forward. Then down the list here, Paul Alamotti grabbed the try and 45 points. He's at a price point that's considerable. I probably wouldn't do it. We don't know what the news on Taylor May is. That's the tricky thing here, so I can't make a call on that. Scott Sorensen played 70 minutes, which is very promising, but the 42 points with a try is not ideal. Still an interesting pod, had a 57 break even, so he'll get a bit cheaper as well. He'll probably drop about, let's say, sort of 18K, something like that, so he'll get down to about 560K. Could be an interesting option if you need a middle for this week. Britton Nakora, look at this, 12 missed tackles, minus 24 points. And the reason I highlight that isn't to roast him or anything like that. It was a tough night for Cronulla, but it's more that you add 24 points to this 36-point game and you've got 60 points, right? So, and I also would just put out there, I think sometimes the missed tackle stats aren't necessarily indicative of bad defense. It's more, a player might be making a big effort and they might ankle tap someone who just gets through, or they might just be trying really hard to make contact and actually putting in big defensive efforts and getting those misses as a result of that. So for Nakora, I think this was just a tough night out. I wouldn't read into it too much. If you've got him, stick with him. He played 80 minutes. He's a great back rower. And then down the list here, Atkinson, 32 points, had a good second half when Hines is out, which is a good sign. Tungo, 29 points, not ideal if you bought him in. Iro, 26 points, again, not ideal, but I'm sticking with him for a bit. Nico Hines, 17 points in 31 minutes. Look, there's no point analyzing the stats, but he did have 347 kick meters. So he was tracking all right. I don't know. Look, he picked up that HIA and he had that calf tightness as well. They were down by a bunch. I think it was like 28-0. And they just sort of said, nah, look, we're not going to risk him, right? So whether the calf was super, super tight or whether it was just a case of he maybe could have played, but they were down by so much, he just didn't want to take an unnecessary risk. Either way, he's out for Origin this week, and he could be a guy that you maybe look at selling, but it's tough with captain options right now. Rest of the team, some really low scores here as well. Look, Talakai, guys like Kennedy are really cheap, kind of interesting, but not super catching my eye. Whereas this game here caught my eye quite a bit. So a few good fantasy options from the Bunnies and Parramatta game. And from Chaos, both of these teams comes a bit of opportunity. Koloamatangi is the first one here. So he popped up with 104 points. Absolutely crazy. Look, a part of this was that Parramatta were really not on form in defense. I can say that as a Parramatta fan. It was a tough one. His first try in particular, he really just carried a couple of guys over and he didn't look back from there. So you got 2 tries in this game. You got 33 tackles, the 9 tackle breaks, 4 offloads, 231 run meters, 104 points. He was the top scorer for the week. He was on fire. Would I look at him in future? He may get that middle dual position soon as well. So yeah, absolutely. I'd be looking at Koloamatangi. And I would be thinking about him as an option from round 14 because he won't play this week. So look at him for round 14. Mike Acevo, I'm not that interested. Damien Cook, again, the try and the try assist for 57 points is a little bit shaky. Played a bunch of center in this game as well. It's really dodgy. I love Damien Cook as a player. I don't love the South Sydney situation. I think it could end up burning us. Latrell Mitchell spent some time in the sin bin, still scored 57 points. He is so dynamic. Jermaine Hopgood made the origin side. So if you got him, you could probably stick with him. He should back up, I would think, but could be a bit dodgy through this origin period. Dylan Brown, 49 points. Not super exciting there. Bryce Cartwright scored a 40. He's going to get a bit cheaper as well. He'll end up in sort of the 500s, maybe at 550. Could be an interesting option if you want a juicy pod there. And down the list here, Sean Lane came off the bench, so only 25 points, not the biggest score. Yeah, Duncan, I thought Duncan might be something, but 21 points in 40 minutes. He just hasn't really converted the opportunity to fantasy points so far, but I think in the future, at some point, we'll all be jumping on Talis Duncan, but not anytime soon. And then the Broncos and the Titans, and this was a cracker. So Keanu Keeney, 80 points. No, this is so frustrating because I was such a big Keanu Keeney believer. Like, I started him for weeks as he scored 18 points every week. Even round 2, I put him on the bench over quite a few guys that were pretty good scorers and just sort of backed him. I thought he was super dynamic in previous years. And it took him a bit of time to get warm this year, but he heated up in this game big time. 80 points. So you got the 4 goals, the 2 try assists, you got 5 tackle breaks, 4 offloads, 265 meters. He was on fire today. And I don't know if you could say, I don't think you could say he's earned a spot over Jaden Campbell or Brimson when they're back, but man, he looks really good. And if he can keep that form up, he's something special. Payne Haas, 76 points. He's going to play Origins, so I wouldn't be going to buy him right now, but 76 with a try was a good performance there. Bo Firma, 68 points. Picked up a bit of an injury in this game. We'll see how he comes out of it, but again, great score with the try. Reece Walsh, he's in my team, 63 points. I probably need to move off him, I would say, through the Origin period. Just a few too many niggling injuries there to go with Origin. The fact that Brisbane are a great side, they can afford to rest someone like Walsh. So, yeah, I might be moving him on. Dave Fafita, 59 points, but did not make the Origin side. So round 14, especially if Queensland win, which they won't, by the way. The Blues are going to get up. I've got a Blues Legends jersey off to the side over here. But yeah, if Queensland get a win, then they'll keep that team most likely, and means Dave Fafita won't be in the side. So could be a great option through this period. Great captain option as well. Paddy Carrigan, 54 points. Rock solid. We'll live with that. Karapani, 50 points. He was really good. How long can he keep this spot is the question. Probably not super long, but at the same time, guys like Cobbo, for example, Reece Walsh playing Origin could be interesting for him. Down the list, Aaron Clark, talked about a lot, 44, but with a try. I don't trust it going forward. 37 minutes is not ideal. And then heading down the list here, Pia Kura only got the 49 minutes, but 36 points with the try. It's not been a great fantasy year for Pia Kura. Obviously, a young guy with a lot of talent, but it's been a bit of a hit and miss season so far. So if you got him, I would be so okay if you sold Pia Kura this week. I think it's a good move, even though he will make money at some point. I think you can move on. Bahulu with 20 points in 52 minutes is not great for fantasy. 52 minutes is awesome. 20 points, though. That's a tough bit, right? So you got the 21 tackles, the 5 missed tackles in that 100 meters. The stat line's not disastrous. There's just no extras. That's the problem. And then the rest of the list, yeah, nothing too crazy to talk about down there. Jezewski obviously stealing some minutes from Pia Kura. Nice little 1-2 punch on that edge. All right, Warriors and the Dolphins here, and this was a cracker, and I'm gonna brag it up right now. I'm going to brag it up big because Herbie Farmworth was my pod. I was all over him 3 weeks ago, and I got laughed at. No, look, a lot of you are very supportive, but 99 points in this game, absolute juggernaut performance, right? So you have the try saver, try assist, 3 line breaks, 14 tackles, 13 tackle breaks in this game. An offload, 2 forced turnovers in defense, and a 200 meters run. Just a juggernaut game from Heavy Farmworth. He is a beast, and the Dolphins have an awesome buy schedule, so I'm happy with him. Ewan Aitken was the real smart buy, though, right? 77 points. He has flown up in cash value across this year. He's been absolutely unstoppable in this Dolphins side. So again, no attacking stats for that 77. 51 tackles, 4 tackle breaks, some offloads, and 100 meters. Like, He is just a cheat code right now, Ewan Aitken. And if you need to pay up big to get him, it's not even insane to do. He's just so good, but they don't play round 14, so just keep that in mind. It's Murray Martin in that dominant role again. So what was it 312 kick meters? Not as good, but it's Murray Martin. He's been good since Sean Johnson went out. He's been filling in quite admirably there. Then we've got Max Plath, 54 points, 57 minutes, rock solid. We're all very happy with him. Mitch Barnett, if you got on him, 51 points. Again, rock solid. I think he's jersey number 20, jersey number 21 the Origin squad, so he'll play for the Warriors through this period unless there are injuries. Osako, 47 points with 2 tries there. Not quite what you'd hope for, but a good game nonetheless for him. And then Jerry Marshall King, 43 points. That's what happens. I mean, Jerry Marshall King is so dynamic, right? So you're relying on those big attacking players for JMK to score well for you there. Lemuelu played 80 minutes, scored 40 points. He is at a nice price point. I actually don't hate that pick at all. And then down the list here, Mark Nichols. Again, we always got to shout him out. 32 points. His try-scoring run came to an end, but still very well shaved, very well bearded. So bravo to you, Mark Nichols. And then Hamiso, 30 points. Play Origin. Who else we got here? Bostock, 25 points. That's what happens when he doesn't score tries. Yeah, look, that is the whole list, right? So that's round 12 in the bag. Look, again, I really want to hammer home, guys. If you are having a bit of a struggle the last few weeks, don't freak out too much. Don't be too broken up by it, right? Because we're entering the bye period and the origin period where anything can happen, where you can rise or fall dramatically through this period. If you're a first-time coach, it's going to be a lot of learning. But if you're someone who's fallen behind a bit, you could easily bounce back over the next couple of weeks. So just be smart. Make sure you're looking at players. Make sure you're checking out in the player profile their fixtures coming up as well. And the big thing you want to look for is when are those buys, right? So round 14 for Herbie, for example. When are those buys for your players? And you want to try and avoid having too many players on the same buys. Anyway, good luck this week. Hopefully you're around for all the buy, hold, sell content, all the NRL.com content, all the zero tackle content now too. There's heaps of fantasy content going around. So I will see you on the next video.